Today I want to talk about 3D printing as I unbox some Star Pharaoh models. But am I a Games Workshop fanboy? It's coming right up.
Necrons!
Nick speaking, and welcome to this video. Right, finally, I'm going to talk about 3D printing. I've been trying to make this video for some time to formulate all of the views and opinions and, well, come to my own conclusions. And that's what I'm going to talk about, not only today, but in the next videos. I'm going to do a mini series on this. Now, in this one, as you can see, I'm unboxing some miniatures. Now, I was contacted by Gear Guts, who sent me some Star Pharaohs to have a look at. More about that in a minute. But I want to talk about 3D printing, and in particular, am I a GW fanboy? So let's start off by talking about my experience with 3D printing so far. So yeah, I've been a bit nervous talking about this subject. I know there's a lot of strong opinions on 3D printing, and it's a pretty controversial subject, especially with all the GW issues like Warhammer Plus, fan animations, the NDA saga, and just general FOMO pushing people away from Games Workshop as a company, and of course all of the IP issues. I've been pretty quiet on all of this and just got on with my hobby and sharing my love for this fantastic game, Warhammer 40k. I tend not to cover controversial issues just for views. The 3D printing death squad is a real thing. Games Workshop will go out of business. However, when you look at the curve of printers versus the profits of Games Workshop, it's pretty clear to see this won't happen. The profits of Games Workshop have gone up much higher and quicker than the 3D printing curve. And regardless of your views, I think there's not a single person out there that would say that old Hammer players are exempt from the debate of 3D printing. They don't have their miniatures to play anymore. I've seen Man of War armies fully 3D printed, and I don't think not a single person would have an issue with that, because that's a totally different story. If you do have a different opinion, I would like to know, so let me know in the comments. However, let's move on. Now, I know a lot of you don't like him, but I've been watching Gamza's recent 3D printing series of videos. He's made quite a few, and to be fair, they actually have been pretty good. Love or hate Gamza, agree or not agree with him, his views are interesting, but what is more interesting are all of the comments about the whole 3D printing subject in the comments section of his videos. I've also been watching 3D printed tabletop. He again has some great videos on the subject, maybe a little bit more serious in its nature to the Gamza videos, but I'm going to link both of these channels up in the description below for you to check out. 3D printed tabletop has covered things like the business model statements from Games Workshop on infringement of copyright IP, the Chapter House Studio saga, the get around of no GW symbols on 3D printed miniatures, and how maybe the tournament scene has changed because of 3D printing. He also covers old Hammer as well, as I've just discussed. But let's go back to my experience. So let's start off with the quality. Now, I was sent some 3D stuff quite a number of years ago, and I have to say, the quality was dreadful. There was lines everywhere, all over it. Yeah, it was cool that you could print something yourself, but the quality was just way subpar. However, I know things have really changed these days. I mean, we've got 6K resolution printers. Now, the only other 3D stuff that I've seen is from my good pal Richard from CM Wargames, link to his channel in the description. He's printed some Necron stuff for me and given them to me on his Mars Pro 2 printer, which I believe is a 2K HD printer. And I have to say the quality is fantastic. I mean, I was really impressed with the quality. What he gave me looked fantastic, very crisp, very clean, very detailed. And I know he purchased the files for these, he didn't make them himself, but what he printed out for me was fantastic. So I know the quality is there with 3D printing, but when it comes to 3D printing, I'll be honest, I've been trying to formulate an opinion of it myself. It is such a hot topic. It could have a big impact on the future of my hobby, but for some reason I just couldn't make an opinion. I suppose you could say I was sitting on the fence, or you could say that my opinion was that I didn't have an opinion. However, that didn't sit well with me. I felt I needed to lay down my ground and where I stand, and then I had a light bulb moment. I have 6 40k armies, yes, 6. Necrons, of course, but I also have Eldar and Dark Eldar. I have a 13th Company Space Wolves army, Tyranids and Emperor's Children. I'm at the stage of my 40k hobby where I don't need hundreds of minis still. I have a good amount to choose from when it comes to making lists, and with the exception of the new Necron minis, I hardly buy miniatures anymore, and if I do buy miniatures and I want to save myself some money, I just go to eBay and buy some badly painted miniatures. I strip them down and repaint them. I do like Games Workshop miniatures. Does that make me a fanboy? I want my units to match into my army. If I need more Ghost Arcs, I want an actual Games Workshop Ghost Arc to match my army. Now at this stage of the unboxing, I come across an issue. The Apocalypse Walker only had 1 leg as opposed to 3. I contacted Gear Guts, they apologised and they sent out the replacement straight away, which I received very quickly. I'd also like to say that the packaging of these miniatures was exceptionally good, very well packaged, and none of the pieces came damaged. So I have no real interest in a 3D printer. Yes, it might be cool to print a few bits, but I just don't need one. I don't have the time or the space for one either. I'm not against 3D printed stuff. I even use third-party bits on my miniatures. I mean, I have a lot of third-party Emperor's Children bits from Spellcrow on my army. I appreciate that I can't go to a Games Workshop event with this army. I can't enter armies on parade with this army. And I knew that when I was making the army, and I settled for the fact that I couldn't do that. Although I have to say it's a big shame, because I've painted my Emperor's Children army to my highest possible painting standard at this stage of my 40k hobby. So when I was contacted by someone a while ago from Gear Guts Mech Shop, I was open and honest with them. At the time, when I didn't have an opinion, I said, I don't know how I feel about 3D printed minis and the whole IP thing. Even so, and with an understanding of what I'd said, they still wanted to send me some minis for me to look at. Now let me be clear, there was no I'll send the minis and you make a video about them conversation. These minis were sent with nothing needed in return. So when I review these minis in the next couple of videos, you will get my honest opinion about them. So stay tuned for the video, and if you're watching in the future, then there is the second video, and if you're watching in the present, then here is one of my other Necron videos which I think you will enjoy.